Good evening and welcome once again to this new program, Tough Talking Thursday. My name is Joel Nanton and I'll be your host every Thursday between 6:30 and 7:30 right here on Channel 4. We're here to take a closer look at business and the economy and probe at the movers and shakers in various sectors. We want to know what's going on, what's going right and what's going wrong, and how are we fixing what's wrong and how are we strengthening what's right. We are searching for facts and figures, sifting out truth from innuendo to find out what else can move this economy forwards besides oil and gas. We'll be probing at our guests, seeking answers to questions we feel you, the viewers, would be interested in. So we welcome you to join us when we open up the lines. We look forward to your contributions. In fact, let me give you our contact details right away because on tonight's show we are opening up the lines from the get-go. You can call us at 675-8747 or 675-8749. We are also streaming live on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/OurTV4 or at gisltd.tt/TV-4. Well, last week we began by looking at food security, and when the lines were opened, the set heated up with some political rhetoric and jabbing here and there as callers weighed in on what the Minister of Food Production, Senator Devant Maraj, and the CEO at NAMDEVCO, Ganesh Gangapasad, had to say. It's an election year, and some of that was, of course, expected. But we are looking at business and the economy, and business in the broadest sense of the word, from big business to the micro-entrepreneur. Tonight, we turn our attention to the sector some feel must take a lead role in the diversification efforts. I'm talking tourism. And I mean from domestic tourism to business tourism, from ecotourism to sports tourism, from selling our sun, sea, and sand to selling our culture. Internationally, some refer to it as the fastest growing sector. But is that the case locally? Here with us to tell us some more is the Tourism Minister, Gerald Hadid. And joining us a little later in the program will be Executive Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Hotel and Tourism Institute, Dr. Patricia Butler. Minister Hadid, welcome to tonight's program.
Well, thank you for having me here. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, I know, Minister, you have to run off right after tonight's program to another tourism event. So I want to dive right in to some of the tough talk.
Certainly.
We have been talking diversification for a long while, and when the PP government came into power in 2010, it was championed again. And the tourism sector in particular was waived as one of the main sectors to drive diversification forward, flagged as a key sector to do that. But 5 years later, 4 ministers later, where are we at in tourism?
Just let me start by saying, every single minister that was at the tourism ministry left something to be built on. And I was fortunate to have inherited a lot that I have now put into practice what was left behind. It was that nothing was done. First of all, in 2009, as everyone knew, the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension the world, was reeling under financial shock.
Yes.
More specifically, in Trinidad and Tobago, the government had just, in 2010, had inherited a whole-scale mess, economic mess, that had to be cleaned and we had to revisit every single project that was left by the previous government to see which of those projects can go ahead. Tobago was reeling from the economic downturn, and we had to pay attention to Tobago more than anything else. We're pleased to say with the programs that were put in place, Tobago today is experiencing the best ever tourism seasons that they've been having over the last couple of years. So it means to say, yes, the Tobago House of Assembly themselves, they're doing a wonderful job in encouraging ensuring that more people visit the island by way of the cruise ship initiative, and also by attracting airlines into Tobago from Europe, from South America. So Tobago, we believe, had turned the corner. There were a number of guest houses, small guest houses in Tobago, that were willing for financial assistance because they had borrowed money and they were not able to repay it. The government, our government, put in place 2 initiatives to assist in helping those guest houses get over their economic burden. And I'm pleased to say, at this present time, we're going to be making an announcement within the next 7 days pertaining to a further reduction in the interest rates that the hotelier, the guest houses, would receive for further assistance in this regard.
Okay. Harry, let me jump on 2 things. 4 ministers is not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, as far as
You're
I
the
was
4th minister.
concerned,
You're saying you're building.
I'm building on a lot of what they have done. The Maracas Beach upgrade facility was one of the areas that a previous minister had initiated. And on the 17th of this month, this week, we will be awarding the contract for the beach upgrade, the Maracas Beach upgrade, and the facilities upgrade. And that letter of award should go out sometime, if not this week, very early next week. And on the 17th, we hope to have a ribbon cutting for the start of it. Now, Maracas Beach has been run down for so long. It's such a beautiful place. And what we have been able to put in place, the country and the visitors to the country would appreciate what the government will be putting in place for them. It is a beautiful facility, and it's going to be really, really well done.
You touched on a couple things. Before we go on, I just want to remind callers that we have opened the phone lines right away, so you can feel free to join the conversation as soon as you're ready, but our lines are open. But you're talking about Maracas here. Are we still selling sun, sea, and sand as our main tourist product?
Not at all. We, first of all, we are the furthest island in the chain of islands to North America. The furthest. It costs more to come to Trinidad and Tobago. What we need to do is we've put in place niche marketing initiatives for Trinidad and Tobago. The first I can talk about is our TDC Convention Bureau that will be traveling this month to Washington, Atlanta, New York, where they will be hosting a destination convention. 70 of the biggest convention participants would be there. We've been overbooked.
When is this?
This month. We've been overbooked and we have been oversubscribed for those persons who want to use Trinidad and Tobago as a convention center. We believe that this is an area that deserves a lot of attention. We have so much to offer in this regard.
So you're talking business tourism here?
This is business tourism.
And Trinidad would be the main focus of business tourism?
That's quite correct. Now, we have all the facilities, we have everything.
But what are we doing in that regard? Are we spending more? Are we trying to get our hotels upgraded to 4-star, 5-star hotels?
Well, as you know, the Hyatt, the Hilton, the Renaissance, they've all been upgraded. There's also the hotel in Tobago that has recently been upgraded also. We believe there that the market for convention tourism is huge. And I think that we have hit on a good one there. Now let's look at the sports tourism. We're going to be hosting the semifinals and finals for the T20 cricket.
Right.
This will bring in thousands of tourists to Trinidad and Tobago, cricketing fans from all over the world. We'll be exposed to maybe 60 or 70 million, 100 million homes for this T20 semi-finals and finals. But besides that, we've been having a lot of work, we're doing a lot of work with the Ministry of Tourism, with the Ministry of Sport, to create the awareness of the magnificent facilities that the government is building and should be completed in another month and a half. The velodrome, the cycling velodrome, the tennis center, the swimming and diving centers that are going to be open very, very soon. We've had a number of inquiries already for people who are going to be going, for teams that are going to be going to the Olympic Games to come and train here just prior to the Olympic Games. So those things are going to happen. So it will bring, again, a lot of revenue to the hoteliers.
We seem to be talking of specific events, upcoming events, and that is fair enough. Looking a bit at the macro picture, however, the sector hasn't contributed hugely to GDP, and that is a given because other sectors likewise have not contributed significantly, given that we are an oil and base economy. Our major focus is still on energy and petrochemicals, etc. Your predecessor, however, said he would like to see the contribution to GDP double by the time you're out of office. Well, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I do believe that Minister Cadiz at the time hit on the right chord. As you know, I've recently come back from Cuba, and I've learned a lot from the Cubans, how they do their marketing and what they specifically target and who they target. Basically, our ministry is working along the same basis, even before I went to Cuba.
So is it a marketing problem we are facing?
We were facing a marketing problem of what product do we have to offer.
And have we identified
We have now identified the product. The product is our culture, mainly our culture.
So we have to sell our culture.
We have to sell our culture. We have to sell who we are, what we are, and what we can do.
And what are some of the specifics?
Our heritage.
What are some of the specifics? Are we just talking carnival here?
No. It is not carnival at all.
Just give me 1 minute, though. We have a caller from Chaguanas. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hello?
Good night. Welcome.
Yes, good night, sir.
Yes, you're on air. Caller.
Sorry, wrong number. Wrong number.
Oh, wrong number. Coming back to that. So what are some of these specifics? Are we just selling carnival?
All right, no. For instance, what would be a very big market for us is the eco-adventure tourism market. 600 years, 500 years, 400 years, 300 years ago, what was our product that we sold to the world? Was it not coffee and cocoa? Where was coffee and cocoa grown? It was grown in the hills, in the northern range, the central range, and in Tobago. This month, we're going to start cleaning a lot of those trails in the northern range and the southern range and in Tobago. There are 1,000 kilometers of trails that donkeys used to bring the product down to the coast and shipped out of here. Now, ecotourism and adventure tourism is the biggest market any country can offer. We have the best fauna and flora. We have the best of everything in the northern range and in Tobago and in Central. What we're doing is really going to be developing ecotourism, adventure tourism, but packaging it with our culture of community tourism.
Right.
Community tourism is where Cuba has scored.
What is community tourism?
Community tourism basically is the community get involved in maintaining, developing, and sustaining the tourists as they pass through their areas.
So we're talking about tour guides here. We're talking about people exposing them to their food.
Or everything. Maybe even people in let's say, in Matelot, can open their homes and rent rooms for a week or so for people who are going to go out on trail walking. We're going to develop trails from Shagaramas to Toko.
But how do we face perhaps two potential problems there? First, you have to get buy-in from the communities, number one.
Well, we have already started working on the communities on this area. It is not that we have not done our consultative programs
so
yet.
Doing work on the ground.
A lot of that has already gone into play. We are now doing the evaluation of the cost for the continued maintenance of those trails that we're going to be cleaning. We are going to be inviting the hashers, the other folk who do trail riding, running walkers, to come on a Saturday and assist us. They must be part of it. We are selling something that they want. We are bringing them into the ambit of the development of it. This is going to be fantastic for everybody's health tourism. Now, recently there was a marathon in where was this one? I think it was the London Marathon or the New York Marathon, one of them. 25,000 people ran in that marathon. 25,000.
But coming back to my earlier question about the community, the other potential problem is how do you cater for things going wrong if we just allow community members to kind of entertain the tourists, and let me say it frankly, somebody is ripped off somehow, then how do you do the damage control? Is there some kind of screening you're going to work with?
Obviously, it's not just going to be left unattended. There are Tour Guides Association who's going to be part and parcel of this whole entire process. They are already bought into this.
The hotel associations.
Everybody have been advised about it. They've been told about it. So we brought them into it. We're going to be starting this program of cleaning trails within the next 30 days. The first 25 kilometers of trails from Grand River to Sans Souci will be cleaned and maintained. And we're going to be starting small by small and going along and building as we go along.
All right,
but besides ecotourism and adventure
But just before we
tourism,
go on to that, I just want to take a quick break, and I want us to go to two Vox Pops that we did. Our cameraman went out on the street a bit earlier this week, and we kind of canvassed opinions from members of the public on what they thought about the state of tourism in Trinidad and Tobago and what they thought we should be doing. So we'll hear from them. You'll hear from them now.
I think tourism in Trinidad right now not where it should be because of the crime rate. It's not where it's supposed to be in Trinidad. And a bit to boost it, number one is trying to get the crime rate down. And number two, have some other sorts of promotion because in Trinidad everything is the same thing over and over, the same maracas, the same everything. So things not expanding for whatever reason, not expanding, and that's probably why I think tourism not where it should be right now in Trinidad. Expansion on the whole, we have some sites that they could see, but maybe they could get some more things that they could add to the agenda. Like we have Carnival, but Carnival getting a little bit, I would say after DJ Carnival getting bored because I know some of my tongue. 7:30, 8 o'clock, police lock down Carnival. I know Carnival, you pumping straight down till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. Ash Wednesday, going home. Carnival kind of gone. So maybe they should do something at least to boost it. Let Carnival reach back the way it was. At least security, increase security. You have some more stages, something to expand so people can have a time when they come to Trinidad. Number one thing in Trinidad is Carnival, right? And there are a lot of others like Maracas now. There are other beaches. Maybe you could fix up other beaches. When people come, they won't be just going to Maracas alone. There are other beaches in the whole of Trinidad you could be going to. Instead of just Maracas only, or maybe just like Clifton Hill, or just the boardwalk, It have a lot of beaches, and so on ongoing project, maybe they could enhance all the different beaches and make it a better place. When people come to Trinidad, at least they could be around the place and check out different places. So, it have a lot of nice other beaches in Trinidad, and you may know that, and you might be like, wait, it's real nice, and it's just that. So that's part of it.
They need to ease up the traffic.
All right, so we heard, Mr. Minister, we heard from a some members of the public there, and he alluded to a point I wanted to come to, which is crime and the kind of impact crime is having on this whole tourism. The first speaker, he alluded to the whole issue of crime and its impact on this whole tourism thrust. It's really.
Let me say that it is never an easy issue. It's not only in Trinidad and Tobago crime affects tourism. As a matter of fact, it does not affect tourism as much here as it does in other parts of the world. Anywhere you go, anywhere in the world, there is crime. Trinidad is not exclusive in this respect.
But our tourists turning away from Trinidad and seeking safer destinations.
Not at all. I remember when there was that problem we had in Tobago, I sent news teams into Tobago around the same time the problem arose there, and they interviewed hundreds of people, not from Tobago, and they all intimated that it would not change their minds from coming to Trinidad and Tobago, and they were actually having a very good time in Tobago. A lot of them intimated that these things happen all over the world. We don't want it to happen. We never want it to happen. But if it does, we have to deal with it. Trinidad and Tobago is a wonderful place. It's a beautiful place to visit. I would like to make a pronouncement that Trinidad and Tobago this year will experience the best tourism year they've had for a long, long time.
We'll come back to that point. First, I want to welcome on set Patricia Butcher, and not Butler, as I said earlier. Welcome. She has joined us now. She is the head of the Hospitality and Tourism Institute. Welcome to the set, and we're talking tourism, of course, and this is right down your alley. You're more on the training end of things.
Education and training.
And I'll get into that a little later on the program. I want to talk specifically about training and what we are doing on that end. But first, just your thoughts on what is the state of tourism in Trinidad and Tobago from where you sit. And is it really a viable alternative as we seek to diversify the economy, and get into things other than oil and gas and petrochemicals, etc.?
Well, I'm going to be preaching what everybody has been preaching for years, that we should diversify our economy. We should not put all our eggs in one basket, the energy sector, and tourism is a viable alternative. There's a lot of potential in the sector, and we just have not maximized our potential in this area. We are doing things, and I heard the minister articulating all the plans. But my concern is that over the years, there has been no consistency, no continuity. We have the best plans. I'm sure they are in somebody's drawer somewhere in some desk, but I have been around the sector. This is my 19th year as executive director of the Trinidad and Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute, and prior to that I was in the airline industry at very senior positions. So I have a good feel for the industry, and I have sat as well during the time when the Vision 2020 plan was being developed. Even prior to that, there was a tourism master plan that was developed. So we have all of these plans.
But what is accounting for the lack of continuity you're speaking about? Is it, to put it this way, that we are resting on our energy laurels kind of thing? Anytime we see oil and gas spike, we get comfortable, new reserves are found, etc. I would think that with the recent collapse almost in the oil price, it should have been another major wake-up call for us. But we seem to be taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps backward. Is that what you were saying?
That is what I'm seeing, and I really don't understand why. And that's what I'm saying. We have to diversify. Tourism is a sector that can generate a lot of employment. The energy sector generates a lot towards GDP. I think it's about 35%. At the current time, the figures that I have in terms of tourism's contribution to GDP is about 11%, somewhere there. lower than that. But from an employment generation perspective, it's about 15%. So look at the difference, 5% in energy, 15% in...
Exactly.
And we are not maximizing the
That's
potential.
my point, exactly.
And we're talking about crime. We have people who are not working and so on. This sector can soak up some of that. Right. But it has to be done in a structured fashion. There has to be a plan. There has to be information in terms of who are the people who are going to be interested in coming here and what do they want to do.
Right.
As a country, I was saying this morning, we are blessed.
Right.
The ministers talked about flora and fauna and sport and culture and all of the areas.
Let me bring the minister back in on that point.
Sure.
And we were talking ecotourism a little earlier, but I want to focus a little bit on Tobago. We can't talk tourism without talking Tobago. And a recent report, I think it was done by the IMF in December last year, pointed to a drop in arrivals. So while we talk these things
in Tobago,
in visitor arrivals in general in the Caribbean, it's been going down. The Tobago hoteliers are telling me that they're in a bit of a trouble. They need some more investment there.
Well, there was a problem Tobago faced some time ago with considering areas, designated areas for investment where foreigners could not invest. One of those areas basically was down in the Crown Point area. And what happened there? Something that was there for quite a while. It meant that those owners who owned hotels down there, foreigners who owned hotels down there, could not sell their hotels or invest in their hotels simply because there were no opportunity for them to upgrade their hotel to make it saleable if someone wanted to sell. We have just changed that law recently. Tobago, we have just, with the agreement of the Tobago House of Assembly, we have been able, for the first time, to get approval from the government and the Tobago House of Assembly to build a world-class marina. That would start, I would hope, before the end of this year. So Tobago is being looked after. A marina in Tobago is an important facet for the development of the tourism industry in Tobago.
When is that going to get off the ground?
We hope by the end of this year. The plans are already in place. The Ministry of Finance have given its blessing to the development. It's going to be a public-private partnership. So
there are foreign investors coming in here.
We will have foreign, we'll have local foreign investors in this agreement. We are happy that the Tobago House of Assembly has consented. So that's on its way.
Are we reaching out to other markets? Our biggest, the largest percentage of our tourists come from North America still.
Yeah.
Are we trying to reach out to other markets?
Well, there are plans basically where we are now developed. Well, the plans are already there, but the marketing of the destinations, we are looking at the areas that easily that people can come to Trinidad. Our problem in the Caribbean is transportation. It costs us more to go to one another islands than it costs us to go to the United States. This has to be crazy. Somehow, somewhere, somebody has it wrong. Tourism could only grow substantially if we can move around our own islands.
So we have a huge regional market.
We have a big regional market. But to come to Trinidad from Barbados, for us to go to Barbados, is $3,000 or more.
But what are we selling to our regional partners? It can't be Sunsea and Sand. They have that.
No. Shopping. The best shopping in the Caribbean is Trinidad and Tobago. You can.
Malls
They have everything here. We have to get transportation right in the Caribbean. To go to St. Vincent, you would probably take half a day.
Yes. You could get to Miami quicker.
How could you? I mean, you could get to Miami for a quarter or half the price. So what you're doing is you're uplifting your US dollars and you're carrying it there. it makes no sense to me unless we get transportation right within the Caribbean. And that also means transporting your goods and services by boat throughout the Caribbean.
Are you having discussions with your, these kind of conversations with your cabinet?
Yes, definitely. We need a carrier in the Caribbean for the islands. I thought the best opportunity was to get LIAT involved in CAL, so we could really utilize all the services, bring it into one Caribbean airline. Look, for instance, an opportunity that exists right now. CAL is in Jamaica. The biggest market for Cuba is Canada. They have over 1 million visitors from Canada every year. CAL ought to be one of the major carriers of people from Canada to Cuba via Kingston. I mean, that's an opportunity again. And then you have the opportunity to bring visitors from Cuba to Trinidad and Tobago. Those are the agreements I signed when I was in Cuba recently.
But CAL has been operating at a loss and struggling financially for quite a while. So clearly they're not seeing it with this.
I think they've turned the corner now. I think they've turned the corner.
So you think this is now a direction we should be moving in?
Try to get out. More tourists drive to Disneyland than people fly into Disneyland. What that tells you, the areas around you are the areas you have to try to feed on. The Caribbean is around Trinidad and Tobago. We must try to feed off of the Caribbean.
You have numbers offhand at all? What was like the percentage of visitor arrivals from the region as opposed to external to the region?
Well, we have them at the ministry, but I don't have them with me.
You don't have them offhand. Fair enough. All right, let me swing back to Patricia.
No, one thing before I speak to Patricia is working with Patricia on a program where, as you know, Trinidad and Tobago has been designated the southern port. We're working on the cruise ship initiative where Trinidad and Tobago will be the host for the cruise ships to go to Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Aruba, another island. And what we've been working with the cruise ship industry is for the utilization of the people that comes out of our school that Patricia is seeing about. That means to say that the graduates from the hotel school will have opportunities to get jobs on the ships as chefs, whatever, what are the various different things. But more importantly, they'll be able to uplift from Trinidad, product from Trinidad. They also will be able to have our artists work on the ships. So the initiative for the cruise ships is very, very important for the hotel school. Yeah. Very, very important.
Tell us, feel free. I know you have that other prior engagement you were telling me about. So if you need to slip out, just give me a heads up.
Yeah, well, I will be leaving shortly.
Yes, yeah, fair enough. But Patricia, can you explain what exactly your role you see as your critical role in the sector and the whole tourism thrust?
Well, my role is to assist in the development of the human resources for the industry and to develop so that they could develop quality products and services at international standards of excellence. In fact, that's the mission statement.
Right.
And TTHDI, over the years, we have grown substantially from when we started. And every year now, we turn out about 200 graduates.
All right, pause there. We have a caller from Faizabad. Faizabad, welcome to the program.
Hi, good night. I'm watching a program here on the TV right now here. Something about the cruise ship. How you go about that?
What exactly do you want to find out?
Well, how you get through that work?
Oh, she's talking about getting employment on the cruise ship.
Well,
go ahead.
Obviously, you would have to have some training. And if you come to TTHDI, we will train you. It depends on where you want to be. If you want to be a chef, if you want to be in the guest services area, or whatever area you would like to be, our program offerings are very broad and diverse. So it depends. Once she calls us, we will then have an interview with her, and we will find out what her preferences are, and then we'll be able to guide her in terms of what courses she can do in order to become qualified to work in any one of those positions that become available. Right. Yes?
I just have to slip over, but I just would like to make one statement.
Sure.
We at the tourism ministry have coined a phrase. That tourism is the new oil to generate revenue for Trinidad and Tobago. And we are serious about it. Pat will tell you that we constantly try to do the right thing at the ministry. We are turning the corner, and I'm certain that the ministry would provide a lot of opportunities for jobs. The ministry would provide a lot of opportunities to create wealth within the society and be able to do all that is necessary to attract the foreign investment and foreign capital to Trinidad and Tobago.
Can you put a timeline to anything for us? You have a 5-year vision, 10-year vision?
We have an election coming, and if we are returned, or should I say when we are returned to office, I'll have a lot of plans left there for whoever is the next Minister of Tourism. As you know, I'm a senator. As you know, I'm a senator. I'm at the disposal of the Prime Minister. So we will wait and see.
The fifth tourism minister should take it forward again.
Well, it's going to be quite good. It will be good plans.
Yes.
So let's hope.
Thank you very much. I know you have to leave. We'll take a break now,
Minister.
and as the minister has to head out, I believe he's heading out to another tourism event. So we'll take a break now, and when we come back, we'll talk more with Patricia Butcher.
Oh, wait.
Welcome back. We're talking tourism here on Tough Talking Thursday. We had with us our Minister of Tourism, Mr. Gerald Hadid. He had to leave, but still on set with us is the Executive Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Hotel and Tourism Institute, Dr. Patricia Butcher. Tell me, Doctor, how many students you churn out annually, and with what kind of qualifications?
200 graduates now annually, and a variety of qualifications, because we do offer certificate programs. We offer diplomas, associate degrees, Bachelor of Science degree in the culinary area, as well as the BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration, in hospitality and tourism. So students, they follow different courses and different programs, and at the end of the year we have our annual graduation ceremony, and we are at the level of 200 odd students graduating on an annual basis.
Excellent. Just want to remind our viewers that our lines are open, so feel free to join the conversation whenever you're ready. But we can't talk training without coming to this stickler here. We have an issue in Trinidad, I think all would admit, with customer service, and you're right in the middle of it all. You're training people to go out in the tourism sector and treat with our foreigners, treat with our locals at a level that they would feel very comfortable, relaxed, and want to do business with us again. What is this issue of customer service that we have in Trinidad? What is the root cause of the lack thereof, I should say?
Yeah, that's my pet peeve. Yeah. I'll tell you that I was VP of Customer Service, or Director of Customer Service, when I was at BWI International, so it's near and dear to my heart. And when I did start at TTHTI, I ensured that the customer service courses cut across all of the offerings. And we were training and still finding that, not a significant dent was being made out there. But then if you understand the tourism product, and when a visitor comes to the island, they do not only deal with people that are trained by TTHDI. From the time you enter the aircraft,
Precisely.
you're dealing with the flight attendants. When you get off the aircraft, you're dealing with the immigration people, you're dealing with customs, you're dealing with the taxi drivers. If you rent a car, you go into the gas stations. If you go to the shopping malls, you're dealing with the customer service personnel. So you realize it's not just a tourism thing, and the TTHDI cannot train everyone in terms of the delivery of quality customer service. It's a deep-seated cultural thing. And having recognized that, I had discussions with the minister and in fact sent a proposal to him because my belief is that I cannot bend the tree when it reaches by me at a certain point. It is so deep-seated. It starts from home.
Precisely.
The good morning, the please, the
Seems
thank you.
to be basic manners, right?
Basic manners. And when I go out there to get service, basic manners are lacking in our society. And people seem not to want to serve you. They're not pleased to do the job. And they do not understand that the customer pays your salary. Yes. And if you understand that basic principle, then you will treat that customer well. And a basic thing of treating a person the way you would like to be treated. So if those basic concepts are understood by all who provide service in this society, then we should see a lift. But it's a deep-seated, the values that are inculcated from at home and in the school system. So the proposal speaks to starting at the earliest level, at the early childhood care centers.
And this proposal is coming off of research you would have done.
Certainly.
Some of the sticking points, really.
Yeah. In fact, when I visited St. Martin years ago, they had a curriculum that was developed for that level in terms of dealing with training in customer service values and understanding those things so that when you get up to the higher levels, it's about polishing now and not teaching some basic values
so
and
teach
skills.
them the basic manners at the preschool level.
Basic.
Don't leave it up to the parents, you're saying?
Not at all. Coming through primary school, teach them about service level habits, you know, how you treat customers, what you're supposed to do, have some sessions with the students, you know, and that will help so that when they get out there and they start working, it comes naturally.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Reminding our callers, you could feel free to join the conversation. But is that happening in other jurisdictions? You go to the U.S. and suddenly you meet someone at the airport and there is you feel the difference immediately. You know, we have the saying, we go abroad and we come back and we say, we know when you land in Trinidad, you know, immediately you get a huff and a puff here, a little grumble here, and you could feel the difference in the customer service. So it seems to be coming naturally to some of those outside of our shores.
Yes, and I'm
not
sure,
naturally to us.
And I'm sure the developed countries, they would have gone through their issues as well and learned from them and they have developed systems now and training programs that would take care of that from an early stage.
So you feel
that
it's nurturing and not
nature?
nature?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I really do believe so.
How close are you to, I mean, it's still at the proposal stage,
Still at the proposal stage. I'm waiting for approval. I'd love to roll it out. I'd love to be the driver of this specific program in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, it wouldn't happen overnight, the change. It would take, I would say, 5 to 10 years before you start to see a difference.
But would you say that your students are now making a difference, causing some dent, you know, in this whole issue of customer service in
I would
the
think
industry?
so. We do have some excellent students out there. Of course, you know, you have the good and the bad. In an institution, you know, if you look at the bell curve, you'd have those who are excellent, and then you'd have those who just about, you know, satisfactory.
Right.
But, I mean, we're trying our best. We do get very good reports, and wherever we don't get good reports, we do call in those students, speak to them, those graduates, you know, because they have to fly the TTHDI flag out there. And I feel so passionate about customer service that wherever I hear it's not being delivered well in terms of my graduates, I'm going to deal with that.
And what kind of relationship you have with those in industry? You'll work together closely on this?
In fact, the Institute is managed and controlled by the private sector. That's the Trinidad Hotels, Restaurants and Tourism Association. So I sit on their board.
Excellent.
They sit on my board of governors. I am very knowledgeable in terms of their needs. You know, if anything is going wrong, they will let me know.
Yes.
And we work very closely. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned them because they recently said, I was reading somewhere where they said we need at least 200 million just to promote tourism in Trinidad and Tobago. I think right now the allocation is close to 0.2% of GDP, which I think roughly works out to be about 20 million or 0.2 billion. Where are we going? I mean, 200 million to promote tourism. You think you sit on the board, that is sufficient?
Well, if you do the research, you look at what other countries are spending, and I mean, it's just a drop in the bucket for us.
Yes.
So obviously we are not marketing the destination effectively. Someone was telling me today, when you turn on the TV, sometimes you see St. Lucia coming up or Grenada, and they're promoting here in Trinidad, their islands. What are we doing out there? Yeah. Are we promoting our islands, our islands, Trinidad and Tobago, out there sufficiently? I would say no.
So we have a marketing problem.
We do have a marketing problem because insufficient funds are allocated for that particular
And I mean, the minister has left, but how can you get more?
Well, it has to be, the Prime Minister has to buy into this and understand the importance of tourism. All of the ministers, it's an integrated, tourism is not just a minister of tourism handling this particular sector, because everyone has an impact. When you talk about development of sites and attractions, that falls under another ministry. When you talk about development of roads, development of trails,
Yes.
different ministries are involved. The Ministry of Planning and Development is now involved in the development of Shagaramas. That is another product, that is being developed. So all of the ministers have to understand the tourism sector. They must work together for this thing to happen and to happen effectively.
Let me ask you this question. There are so many facets to tourism. We were talking earlier with the minister about, from business tourism, sports tourism. Which do you see as the lead in taking tourism forward?
That's a tough question.
Well, we're on Tough Talking Thursday.
I heard him saying cultural tourism.
Yes.
And again, I know that we have been blessed with sportsmen, lots of talent here, and women, sportswomen. In fact, I'm president of the Netball Association, so
excellent.
I understand what's happening in the sporting arena. And so I talk about sport. What about culture? Our music, our steel bandsmen. In fact, there is a conference that's happening in August, and we should be doing that every year. We should have a steel band music festival every year that's going to bring people, because that's indigenous to us. That's our thing, and we must be promoting that throughout the world. They have other people who want to take our thing that we have developed.
The pan is
and why are we
China.
allowing that? That is ours. So let us give to the outside world who we are and display what we are. All the talents that we have been blessed with. So you have the music, you have the food, because of the multi-ethnic nature of our society. So people can come here because of the culinary delights. So that's another area. You have the shopping we talked about when we look at ourselves in relation to the Caribbean. So it's a number of areas multi-pronged that we can target. I heard a minister talking about events and conferences. Again, you have trade shows being put on here. You have conventions, conferences. When people come here, they want to do other things. If they come into your country for the first time, they want to see it. So you're talking about sightseeing, sites and attractions and so on. You want to expose them to our music, to the things that
is doing enough? Because you're speaking here, really, it sounds to me like promotion, marketing, our weaknesses, really, and they can really
they have to get funding as well to do what they're supposed to do. And I know that they complain about insufficient funds. So TDC, they have their role. Their main role is marketing the destination, and they have to get the money to do it. If the money is not allocated, when you look at the budget and you look at what tourism is allocated in relation to other sectors, you tell me if we can do much with what is allocated. And I think therein lies the problem.
Yeah. You sound very passionate about it. Do you feel sometimes that your pleas are falling on deaf ears?
Yes, I do. Over the years, I have been involved in development of plans, and when you anticipate that the plans will be rolled out and implemented, they're not, and that's frustrating. And then you have so many changes and ministers, and if they will continue the plans that have been developed, then you will see some growth. But when they chop and change and people come with their own ideas and you start doing the exercise all over again, and that is a frustrating part of it. I would personally like to see I said earlier, continuity. Whoever goes and comes, follow the plan. The plans are there.
Yes. We're going to wrap shortly, but let me come back to your students. Where are your students? Are they only in Trinidad? Have some taken off, gone, and serving elsewhere?
They're all over the world.
So are we losing our human resource?
I wouldn't say we're losing. I know that, it's important that they get international experience. When they do get, some of them come back, some stay. But I think that it's good that they can spread their wings. We have students who, we encourage them to go on externships. So we have groups that go off to France, to Denmark, to Brazil, to Panama, and that international exposure for me is important because tourists come from all over the world, and the service has to be at international standards of excellence so that they must understand what that means. And if they sit here, they may not always get it. Yes. So if they go out there and they work in organizations and institutions out there, they will understand the importance of delivery of quality service.
And customer service.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patricia Butcher. And that's how we wrap it up here on Tough Talking Thursday. Thank you for your calls. Thank you very much to our guests, the Minister in his absence, and Dr. Patricia Butcher joining us, and very passionate about this whole topic of tourism. So that's how we wrap it up here. Join us again next Thursday for another episode of Tough Talking Thursday. Have a good evening. Good evening.